J.D. Vance said, "Today is not some isolated incident. The central premise of the Biden campaign is that President Donald Trump is an authoritarian fascist who must be stopped at all costs." That rhetoric led directly to President Trump's attempted assassination. J.D. Vance said, "I go back and forth between thinking Trump might be a cynical asshole like Nixon who wouldn't be that bad, or maybe that he's America's Hitler." Is this a real quote from J.D. Vance? Did he actually call him America's Hitler at one point? Yeah, wait, is this a real J.D. Vance quote? I've heard people say this, but when did he say this? He told NPR that year he can't stand Trump. By the way, this is Trump's most likely VP pick. J.D. Vance is Trump's most likely VP pick. Trump told NPR that year, "I can't stomach Trump." He wrote an op-ed for the New York Times titled, "Mr. Trump is unfit for our nation's highest office." Vance said that he didn't vote for Trump in 2016, and his former roommate shared messages of text messages Vance sent him that year. Oh, these were leaked text messages? In which he called Trump cynical and said he could be America's Hitler. By the time Vance launched his campaign for Senate in 2021, his views were closely aligned with Trump's. He met with the former president and quickly won his endorsement, gaining a crucial boost in the Republican primary. I'm not reading all these words from Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene does not have enough value to take up this many of my words. Democrats wanted this to happen. They've wanted Trump gone for years. Blah, blah, blah. Thank God for Secret Service. What did she say in this? "I'm going to blow away the Democrats' socialist agenda." Yikes. Absolute yikes. But remember, guys, don't use violent rhetoric, remember, but also gonna blow away the Democrats. Matt Walsh, the infamous Matt Walsh. All of the talk about Trump being a fascist dictator was meant to lead to this. If this was the other way around, do you think Trump would reach out to President Biden? Absolutely not. We talked about this yesterday. Not only can we speculate that he wouldn't reach out to Biden, but we know for a fact that Donald Trump never reached out to Mike Pence to see if he was okay after January 6th. Mike Pence wrote a book. And in that book, he details how Donald Trump never called him to see if he was okay after people were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence," after people were storming the Capitol when he was in there. I don't even think they've talked since January 6th. I don't even think Trump and Pence have talked. I remember reading this. Pence hasn't spoken to Trump in months. Capitol riot to blame for rift. And I don't know if there are updates, but I remember this. Trump never called. Matt Walsh was saying all of this talk about Trump being a fascist was meant to lead to this. Then he said, Joe Biden used the power of his office to slander a hero cop as a racist murderer. Jesus Christ. Like the absolute irony or hypocrisy. Both. He's like, yeah, don't use crazy political rhetoric about fascism or about abusing power. And he literally does the same thing. Come on. Biden is responsible for the shooting today. How do you say that like hours after it happens? How do you like possibly send out a tweet like that? Like yesterday, I was being very careful not to jump to conclusions. I was being very careful not to tweet anything inflammatory. I was trying to calm things down and keep people grounded. I could not imagine having a public platform and using it to say stuff like this. Lauren Boebert said, everyone who has called Trump a fascist, they need to have a deep reflection before another tragedy takes place. But then she said, more illegal immigrants are entering our southern border each month than at any point during Obama's reign of disaster. 180,000 in July to add to the 1 million confirmed this year alone. Biden's regime is the most dangerous and extreme we've ever seen in America. And keep in mind, Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans have been the ones essentially salivating for some sort of terrorist attack. To happen. So Donald Trump Jr. said, Dems and their friends in the media knew what they were doing with this literally Hitler BS. And then Donald Trump Jr. also says, it's a total disgrace what's going on in this fascist regime. Democracy dies in darkness. So both sides say that the other side is a threat to democracy. Ben Shapiro said, a shocking and tragic day for the nation and an amazing, heroic response from President Trump. You cannot repeatedly and endlessly label a major political party candidate and former president as actual Hitler, a full-scale threat to democracy, without radically increasing the danger of violence in America. Blah, blah, blah. The danger has been obvious for years. Ben Shapiro then says, the attempt to twist the Paul Pelosi attack into the broader story about supposed extremism in the Republican Party is so transparently opportunistic and pathetic. Come on, homie. Come on. Everyone can see what you're doing. Democrats and the media. It's disgusting. what he's saying is that we're letting terrorists in our countries because he thinks the border is open or whatever. But maybe the call was coming from inside the house when the person who shot him was a Republican. Who's actually poisoning the blood of our country other than this mother effer right here is the one that's poisoning the blood of our country. But I was working and I got the notification from Asen on Twitter. It's like shots ring out at Trump rally. And immediately I was like, this is not good. This is bad. And then one of my friends, my phone was blowing up. One of my friends texted me, oh my God, there's blood on his face. I immediately, right when that was sent, I started like gathering clips and recording so I could be on rapid response. And I was just having trouble. There was like a good 3 minutes there where I didn't know if Trump was alive. I was sitting there and I was actually like, my heart was racing because it was the in between the shots being running out and people saying there's blood on his face. I was like, is it his neck? Is it, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was scary. And I just, you can't exactly predict the electoral consequences, but my instincts are telling me something. My instincts are telling me this is good for Trump. Is that fair?
I mean, I don't think it's, I have no reason to believe that it would be bad for Trump, right? I just don't know to what extent it will be good for him and for how long.
Yep.
I mean, I covered this in a video I did earlier today. I think that, number one, this election was already an historic situation prior to the events of yesterday. You know, an incumbent president, a former president, a rematch between them, social media being what it is, how polarized we are. Like, people want to talk about what happened with President Reagan, but President Reagan had already won the election. He was freshly incumbent or freshly inaugurated. He was already popular. He had an approval rating above 50%. Trump never cracked that. Reagan was pretty well liked in terms of like his charisma and affability. Like you know, he was nowhere near as disliked as Trump was, and there was no social media, and we weren't polarized as we are today. So, and even with the Reagan thing, like he got like 10 points, I think, worth of like additional groundswell.
We're here right now because Trump is fucking insane, because he has support from 90% of the conservatives in the Republican Party who are entirely un-American. Fuck them. Whatever happens, happens. I don't give a fuck. At this point, my only regret is that the guy didn't spend enough time practicing first. It is insane how much conservatives get to set the standard on all the conversation in this country. It's absolutely insane. We're supposed to jump up and feel sad that the guy who is one of the most divisive presidents in all of history got shot at? Fuck, give me a break. Please give me a break.
Okay, one person is dead who isn't Trump.
That was really funny, though.
Someone in the crowd that was just going to a rally who got murked by this guy, and two others are in critical condition. I think it's okay to show a little empathy. Don't you?
You're right. Hold on. I'm sorry. I didn't know somebody else died. What state was this in?
Pennsylvania. My state.
Swing state voter. Fuck you.
Oh my God.
Sorry, what?
Yikes. Oh my God. Jesus Christ.